Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Stephen A. Williams, president and founder of the creditrepairshop.com. What we have here is a client. I have been meaning to post this testimonial from a client. We're not going to mention their name, but this is a good outcome that they wanted to have. And I need to post more of these. I just some of the times just get behind. Uh, but so this was a medical collection, and the balance was $2,055, and you can read here, our offices are in receipt of your letter of dispute, this is what I always talk about when you get a demand letter for a debt. And it says, please be advised, we have been unable to obtain the verification in the timeline required at this time. Therefore, we have requested the account be deleted from any consumer reporting agency files to which we have submitted information. Consumer reporting agencies may take up to 30 days or longer to update consumer reports, and this is beyond our control. I've talked about that once before. Sometimes people just don't believe, they think that the 30 days has to be 30 days by law. It does not have to be. But now, this what we're talking about here for this video is doing a dispute directly with the creditor. With this one here, the original creditor uh, was actually a debt collection company that bought a medical debt. They bought a medical debt from I guess from a hospital, and they were coming after this gentleman for $2,055. Now, I'm not never telling anyone to run away from debts that you owe. What I tell people to do is, if debt collectors buy debts, that there is a process that you have to go, that they must go through to be able to collect on that debt. There is nothing wrong with doing that. If it was flipped around the other way and the company owed you money, they could put a whole bunch of different roadblocks in front of you, like restocking fees, or they could say that you didn't ask for your refund in a certain amount of time, all types of things. So this stuff can go both ways, and that's what I'm doing. I'm not telling you to run away from debt. That's what people do on other channels. What I'm saying is that if a third party collector buys your debt, you should make them go through all of the check all of the boxes to prove that you have to pay it. And then if they do check all of the boxes, then you can go into a settlement phase. With this individual gentleman, we actually went through this. We had to do this, I believe, I'm looking on my notes here. We had to do this 3 times before they decided not to go through and to send this letter to our client. And so let's kind of break it down. It says that our offices are in receipt of your letter of dispute. Uh, the letter of dispute, and I'm going to be giving you these letters. The first letter of dispute, when you get a demand letter for payment, is that you should automatically send a cease and desist collection activities letter to them. And within that letter, it has, which goes into the next sentence, please be advised, we have been unable to obtain the verification in the timeline required at this time. In that cease and desist letter, it has a debt validation portion within that letter that in some, it's also called a verification of debt. It has that information in there, and that's what is requested, and that's what we sent for this client. And then it says, therefore, we have requested that the account be deleted from any of the consumer agencies files to which we have submitted information. That would be TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian, because it was on all three of his reports. So what we immediately do is we use this letter to make sure that it comes off as fast as possible, because maybe they won't submit it in a timely fashion. What's in it for them to do that. They're gonna get it off, but they're not gonna always do it in a timely fashion. So you could use a letter like this attached to a dispute to Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian and get this item removed pretty quickly because you'll have the information from the provider of the information on the credit reports. Now, it can still take longer than 30 days. That's just because of the way the processes are working, especially right now. Even though we're coming out of this COVID-19 emergency, there's still going to be some delays on the way that they're doing the processing because inside of the companies, they're not always working at 100%. So now let's run through what you should do, and I'm going to bring up on the board here on the screen. The first thing that you should do is whenever you get a demand letter for a debt that they're claiming you owe, you should always first look at the statute of limitation laws for your state. Every state has a different time frame on which a debt could be collected. Sometimes you might hear this called time bar. A time bar debt basically means the same thing as a statute of limitations. That means that it's past the legal statute of limitations to be able to collect. So as long as they didn't get a judgment against you, they cannot legally collect that. The only way that they can legally collect it is if you make a payment to a debt collector, even if it's as small as $1, you would reset the statute of limitations time frame. Now, the way that you find the statute of limitations, how you match up and know the statute of limitations, if it's past it or not, is you first go to our website, thecreditrepairshop.com. At the bottom, click on the blog and you type in statute of limitations. It'll bring up statute of limitation laws for all the different states. Once you get that information, then you want to get your credit reports and you want to get your credit reports. If you don't have them, you need complete credit reports. You can go to your3scores.com. That's also listed right here, and the link is below this video. You want to look at the original charge-off date, not where the debt collector entered their information. You want to look at that original creditor to see when the charge-off date was entered from that original creditor, because that's when the time clock starts clicking on the statute of limitations. And as long as they haven't done anything where they've taken you to court and got a judgment, and if it's past its legal statute of limitation, you only have to send one letter, and that's a cease collection activities uh, collection due to statute of limitations. So cease collection activities due to statute of limitation laws. I provide that letter below here. It's the that's a combined letter that I have, and you only need to send the first letter, the SOL letter, statute of limitation letter. Now, if the debt is not past the legal statute of limitations to be able to be collected, then the next thing you want to do is you want to send the cease and desist letter, and I have that also below here. And within that letter, it has a cease and desist, and it has a debt validation / verification section in there. What this letter does, it makes the debt collector really go through their files to make sure that this is going to be a debt that they're going to be able to collect. You will be surprised how many times debt collectors will stop uh, trying to collect on a debt simply because they get that letter, and that letter asks them questions that they don't expect, uh, regular consumers to know about. And so they're going to make a determination if this is something that they want to proceed with. A lot of times, and sometimes it depends on which collector gets it. Some of them only like to go after people who don't respond the right way. Some might, take on the challenge. But most of them will stop the collection activities from continuing when they get that cease and desist collection activities letter. And another note that I want to put here, and I'll put that underneath there. If it's a medical collection like this one was, one of the things that we always add in there is to get the information on who gave them permission, show the consumer's signature giving the third party debt collector permission to have the medical information of the individual. That simple law, the HIPAA law, could make a debt collector back off and say, hey, we did not get this, we were just out there trying to buy debt and we didn't even get any documentation showing that we could even have this individual's medical history. Now, you might be saying, well, how do they have your medical history? Well, it- they can simply know what type of procedure you had by the name on the bill or by the receipt of the bill. You know, when they try to send you a demand letter or they try to send you some type of document to verify that you did get services, that's actually disclosing your medical history, and they don't even know it. They just think that they're just sending you a bill, but they're actually showing you the services that they had. So one of the ways that you can actually get them to stop is you can say, hey, who gave you permission to even look at my medical information? And if they're not able to get something with your signature, that can make them stop coming after you, uh, you know, when you send that cease and desist letter. So for any medical collections, you want to send the cease and desist and a document, or you want to add into that cease and desist letter a line saying, who, please show me a document showing that you have permission, that I gave you permission to know my medical history. Now, the third point, third number here, number three, is the debt validation and verification. This is what I want you to send when you're going to get a response back from the debt collector, and they're going to either say that they're going to, cease collection, like this letter here, or they might say, "Hey, we believe that we can come after you for this." So you need to read it very carefully, and you need to respond to it the right way. So read it, but basically, when it, bottom line, what it comes down to, and I make it real easy for you, is that in the debt validation letter that I give you, you're just going to want to make sure that they send you all of that information that's in there. That they say, you just download the letter so you can see point by point. And when they send you the information back, you just want to make sure that they gave you all of that stuff. Now, if they do get it, then you need to make a determination on which way you want to move forward. If you want to be done with it, so it doesn't proceed to go to a lawsuit, or, where you can work out a settlement on there. Number four here is you wait for that response. So when you send out the validation, debt verification, even the cease and desist uh, letter, you're gonna have to wait. And I usually say wait 2 weeks, because the companies, you're not the only one that owes them money that they're trying to come after, and sometimes it takes them a little bit of time, depending on if they want to research it or if they want to respond right away, because they might have the information that will be asked for in the debt validation uh, letter that I provide for you. So, but usually 2 weeks. If they don't respond within 2 weeks, I always tell people to send it again. And some of the times we've sent this a few months in a row when we never got any responses, and then all of a sudden you'll get a response. With this individual here that I'm showing you with the testimonial, that's exactly what happened with this account. It was sent out 3 times, and then on the third time, this is what came back. So. Uh, they, they want you to quit. And if you quit, you might be quitting right before you have success. And you won't know the success until you have it. So just keep pushing, keep sending out the information, keep responding. Because at some point, it's gonna, you're gonna know which direction you need to go. If it's gonna either be where they prove it and you go towards doing a settlement, or that you get a letter back like this client did, where they say that they're going to cease all collection activities. And like I said, it took 3 months to get this one back. So I'm going to be in the video here. If you need any help with your credit, please visit us at thecreditrepairshop.com. If you need your reports and scores, remember everything starts there. Go to the number 3scores.com, and the links to the debt validation letters and all of that stuff is below this video. And I would like to thank you for your time. And this is Stephen A. Williams, President and Founder of thecreditrepairshop.com.